What's going on, everybody? LK here. About 2 weeks ago, they dropped a new Guilty Gear Strife patch, another winter patch, just like last year, Season 2.5. This year, we have Season 3.5. So, back in August, we got the big Season 3 patch, lots of changes, new mechanics, and Johnny. And with this patch, there are some mechanics changes, but small ones. Another new character, Alpha Valentine, my favorite character in Guilty Gear ever, Smile, and some balance changes to the cast. So once again, we're going to look at who I think are the biggest winners of this patch and the biggest losers of this patch. So if there's a character that's like big winning, I think this patch, it's actually Ramlethal. So Ramlethal is literally unchanged. She just has some like bug fix. The only changes that are actually made to her are system mechanic changes. The main important ones being that Red Wild Assault was nerfed, and honestly, Wild Assault in general was nerfed, and the Flex Shield was buffed. Besides that, she's basically the same character. So if you thought Ram was really strong last patch, you basically think that Ram is also really strong this patch because she didn't really get changed. This is pretty uncommon in the game. There have been like characters who, honestly, for lack of a better word, maybe I've been watching too much YouTube, but have gotten like nothing burger changes, right? Where like, they got like something, but you're like what does this do? Like it doesn't really do anything. But for the devs to be like, yeah, Ram is unchanged is actually to me really hilarious. But I mean, she's coming out on top because we all thought she was super strong last patch too. On the subject of characters that didn't really get changed, another character I think that won again this patch is actually Sin. So this is 2 patches in a row because last patch I thought he was massively buffed compared to his Season 2 iteration. So he only received like 2 very small nerfs. Honestly, one of them is not technically a nerf unless you're kind of like a handboy, and this is about how his running DP does not have basically any momentum at all. So when he does it, he just stops. He doesn't like slide with the reversal like other characters. Like if I did this with Baiken, for example, she kind of like slides into the parry where he does not move at all. Like I said in the patch notes video for this patch, again, you have to run a little bit farther before you eat your glue. You know what I'm saying? The real actual big change to him is that Tyrant Rave just does less damage. So Tyrant Rave was one of the few supers in the game last patch that actually did not get their damage nerfed. So it still does a good chunk of damage, but without risk, it doesn't do like a ton of damage. I actually played Kizzy Sin like right before the patch drop, and I was like, yo, I'm getting literally 2-touched by Sin like every round. She doesn't have a ton of HP, but she doesn't have like low HP like that. So it's a pretty big surprise for me. So the last big winner of this patch, I'm going to say, is Gold Lewis. If you follow like the social scene, am I saying that right? Like Guilty Gear social media, Guilty Gear online community, you probably have been hearing a lot of people saying Gold Lewis is really insane right now. I still don't totally have a say on how good he is right now, but I would be trolling if I didn't say he got buffed a lot. So his first big buff, funny enough, since we talked about Ram, his first big buff is Wild Assault. His Wild Assault travels further and faster now, and honestly it hits from a pretty big range. It's kind of like a jump scare. And remember, White Wild Assault is invincible and plus and causes a guard crush. So next would be his 2K. So one flaw that Gold Lewis has always had is that he is not that great on defense. So he has like fast buttons, but his buttons for defense are kind of stubby. So while things like Behemoth Typhoon are huge, fast, covers a lot of space, defense-wise, if you're not like right next to him, he doesn't really have that great options. Of course, his backdash is really good. So he has a 6-frame invincible backdash, so it has the most invincibility you have on a backdash, and it's shorter duration than characters like Nagori Yuki by 1 frame. And if he gets the opportunity to jump out of your pressure, he's definitely countering with jump D, which is pretty hard to deal with on reaction. But outside of that, his usual best defensive option as far as mashing goes is his 2P. And while this move is amazing at what it does, for example, it could be used as an anti-air, for example, because it's really fast and it hits high. It's pretty small. Like, I have to try to get hit by this. This should hit. I'm actually shocked that did not hit. So that should show you how stubby this move is. Where he knows is reaching, right? But then on top of that, since it reaches so high, you can 6P it, you can low profile it. If you ever wondered why Gold Lewis players always seem to pick like these high risk options on defense, it's kind of because they had to, especially if you were close. If you were far, it's much easier to at least gamble on stuff that is big and disjointed than if someone's like kind of close or kind of in mid-range-ish. So what they did is they made his 2K, which is normally like pretty slow. It's very slow for 2K. Originally, it's 8 frames. Most 2Ks in the game are 6 frames, so having one that's 8 frames is pretty uncommon. So it actually made it so he couldn't punish a lot of things. And he would actually get pretty good return if he could, because his 2K 2D basically always reaches. And he has that consistent conversion ability, so if he wanted to he could just do 2K 684. While it might not seem like a big deal, a lot of characters play around between like -5 and -7 with some of their string unders. So having a 7 frame normal means he's punishing things now. I have Eno here specifically for this reason. This is like one of the easiest examples. Now his 2K reaches, which means if you do this, you don't gamble, you are just going to get hit and knocked down. So there's way more stuff he can punish now that he couldn't before, and he can actually defend himself from a pretty decent range. And then the last thing is the change to his 268, this upward swing, golf swing, whatever you want to call it. Now because of how the move works, it's always +6 no matter what the distance, where in the previous versions of the game, the frame data really varied depending on when you did it, was the opponent getting up and waking up into it, how far away you are from them, and all this stuff. So now it's always +6, which makes it not only easier for them to plan offense, but also makes it way harder to deal with. So these things packaged together have people just really, really gassing up Gold Lewis. No matter how good I think he is, I don't really have an opinion yet, I do have to say he's definitely one of the biggest winners of this patch. So next we have to talk about the biggest losers. So last patch, there was really only one character to talk about because all characters got like really big changes and stuff. And the only character that seemed to get like outright nerfed was Zato. But in this patch, there was much more nerfs going around, not just system mechanics. So one of the characters that was the most blatantly nerfed was surprisingly Happy Chaos. He has kind of gotten away with murder for a while, but this is one of the most aggressive nerfs they've ever given him. So while I think he's still very strong, and honestly, conceptually, I don't think he could be weak in this game unless they go out of their way to make him weak. This patch did something really big to him. Basically, they made it so that his H gunshots without the focus power up use a ton of resource also. And it would look like this. So you run out extremely quickly now, which basically stops him from playing super defensively immediately, and it stops him from having as big of an advantage when he bursts somebody. Burst is pretty advantageous in this game, you know, it knocks down and stuff. So characters like Happy Chaos, Jacko, and Asuka really benefit from defensive burst because they have time to set up their situations. So I think they're mostly targeting these two things and trying to force people to use focus in a more direct way. He does have other nerfs on top of this. So for example, the guard crush shot is actually way less advantageous than it used to be. Frankly, this getting nerfed, I think really affects the general field of Happy Chaos. If you're like a top Happy Chaos player, while you're feeling the nerfs, you're not feeling like too bad unless your whole goal with playing him was you wanted to play a character that's always like a top 3 character. But if you're switched to him because like you hated him, or you felt like he was like super scrubby, or you just like didn't want to interact ever and just wanted to run away, I think this is a lot weaker because they already nerfed and, to be fair, buffed steady aim zoning in previous patches. That was like one of the first things they did. So now the combination of both this using a lot of concentration and this using a lot of concentration without focus, while it might sound like not a huge deal, it really forces them to actually focus up to get any type of game plan going. It's not a hard resource to manage, but they have to actually get to the place where they have the advantage in the first place. The other biggest loser, I think, is Asuka, pretty much for a similar reason. So basically, one of the biggest changes they did to him is that it's just a lot easier to hit the cubes now. They have way bigger hurt boxes than before. So something like this was just not possible before. You needed really big active normals to deal with this. So while a lot of people still actually rate him really highly and top tier, I actually think he is still top tier. I just think it's a similar thing to Happy Chaos, to where like the general populace of the character is brought down, and one of the most annoying things about him is also brought down. The infinite mana change is also a good change, but I think just being able to fight him early and not having the like your matchup against him devolve into you win round start, you try to burst, he bursts you, you try to survive, or you don't win round start, you lose, is honestly just good for the character. If you think that type of play is interesting, you probably have a dark way of looking at fighting games that we just don't agree on, I would say. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this patch right now. So far in this game, probably my favorite patch was the season 2.5 patch, so last year's winter patch. So I actually have a pretty good outlook on this patch, because I thought basically season 2.5 was just really fair. So like the power level was kind of high, but like you really could overcome bad matchups and stuff, and like it wasn't that bad to just like solo one character. Where season 3, while interesting, the character power level was crazy because of Wild Assault, and I think it was a really volatile version and not a good version, even though it was interesting. There was a lot of like new stuff to explore. So I'm actually pretty looking forward to this patch. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment section below. YouTube loves it when you watch another video from me, so go ahead. Had a couple of collabs recently, so go check those out, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out. Deck the halls with bottles of protein. Fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to get huge. Fa la 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 la. Don we now our coupon code. Fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient FG player. Fa la 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 la. No fasting here, protein only. Fa la 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 la. Apple, cinnamon, cookies, and cream. Fa la 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 la. Use code LordKnight when you check out. Fa la 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 la. Let's flex on them next year. Fa la 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 la.